All right. So this is just going to be a short intro to the stylistic coaching and drafting series that I've been talking about a lot in the server already. So let's just jump into it. It'll be a very quick video. Okay. So why am I making these videos? So why do I want to make a stylistic coaching and drafting video series? Um, so first of all, I gravitate toward a very clear style. Um, you know, my three biggest stars on my three good teams are shown below. They're all bulky attackers. So I have a pretty clear um, style in that sense. And then also, especially last season, season five, with my Gyarados Tangrowth team, that just felt really not right, even though I thought the team was still pretty good, even at the end of the season. So, yeah, it's been something that's been in the back of my mind for a while, my own style. And then, in addition to that, there are a lot of arguments, or not even necessarily arguments, maybe discussions around draft time, and they show how differently many of us think. So that could be as simple as tiering and like a specific Pokemon. So, like Tay talks about how Lucha is actually really strong, and Jordan hates it. But it's also more general than that. Sly is always talking about drafting, super top heavy teams, and then typically Jordan is pushing back on that, or Jordan is talking about um, Jordan is talking about the need to have explosive offense, and I sometimes push back on that idea a little bit. So the philosophies are clearly you know not the same for everyone, which I think is really cool. Uh, Definitely not a bad thing. I think it's a cool positive thing, and I think it's interesting that so many of us think about drafting so differently. So that's why it's part of the reason why I was so interested to do this series. Um, all right, so then continuing on, so like I identified my style, but that brought up a lot of questions for me. So, first of all, how are other coaches valuing things in draft and in prep and in game? Because there are so many things that I take for granted in drafting and prepping and in game of like, of course, um, this is a valuable thing that other people will, um, also be trying to do or also be looking for, but that's not necessarily the case. Or, you know, we all know that fake out is good, but maybe some people think that fake out is more important than other people. I something like that. And then how can we define a coach's style? So, previously, without having thought about style very much, I used to think that it was, more or less on a coordinate plane like this. You have top heavy versus wide threat bubble, and you have bulky versus explosive offense or glass cannon. Um, so, this isn't everyone. These are just some extremes that I thought about. Sly goes super top heavy, Popping goes super explosive offense, I go super bulky, Daddy goes for a super wide threat bubble, and then, also I did already know that, or I already noticed that styles change. Like Jordan started as a very bulky type player, and then has shifted more toward explosive offense. Um, so I have noticed stuff like that. So, there's obviously a little more nuance to it. And, talking about nuance, of course, a coordinate plane does not work for style. There's so many more components um, to a coach's style. And that's only become clearer based off the responses I've gotten to my questions about style. Um, yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that are more important. Like how much do you value Pokemon having multiple jobs? Because some people like having Pokemon with one very, very strong option, whereas some people prefer having one Pokemon with a lot of solid options. So, you know, there are a lot of different preferences, there are a lot of different styles and choices that coaches tend to make. Um, that's not just, you're this thing or that thing and you're this thing or that thing. in terms of bulky or not, top heavy or not. It's not just that. Um, so, that's why this is going to be a series. It's because there's so much going on in terms of style, which is what's been striking in the past couple of days, um, especially. So, I have a few goals for this series. First, I want to show new coaches the many ways to draft and play. I think this can be valuable for new coaches, just because you come in and it's scary and it's like, oh, everybody knows what they're doing. What do I do? And, there is advice, but, not the same advice doesn't necessarily fit every person. So it's nice to see multiple perspectives. So I think for that reason, it'll be good for new coaches, or coaches trying to change their style. And then also for old coaches, because just seeing the different processes that different coaches use, it's interesting first of all, but it can also be beneficial. Maybe there's something you learn in this video from this coach, that you carry on and you think about, and it affects your style and it affects how you play. And then the biggest point is that these videos are for the community. So if you ever have any interest content wise in just, tell me what you're thinking about, and I'll find a way to include it. Um, or if you want to like actually come on to a video, also let me know. Um, this partly is such an exciting project for me just because it feels very in touch with the community. So any way that you want to, you know, help me with this series, totally welcome. Um, and that could be as simple as, leaving feedback in Discord or on YouTube. So always feel free to reach out regarding this series or anything else. But what I won't do, I won't bash on how anyone plays their drafts, obviously. I won't determine that any style is better or worse than another. I'm not going to sit here and say hyper offense is bad. I'm not going to sit here and say that top heavy teams are bad. I'm just going to talk about top heavy teams. I'm going to talk about how, someone who drafts top heavy compares to someone who drafts with wider threat bubble. Like those things are, they're not objectively good or bad. And then I also won't make the same type of video over and over again. Um, that this is connected to the community point on the other side. Um, I want to vary the content for this series a lot. I want to do lots of different types of videos. I want to touch a lot of different bases. So, again, if you have any ideas for how I could structure a video or what I could talk about in a video, again, totally DMs are open, YouTube chat is open, and comments on YouTube are open. Um, right. So just special thank yous, as I start the series. So um, just especially I want to call out Jordan, obviously, because I think what he's been doing lately, like particularly with the draftables, has been very cool, and it's just sort of an expansion of the VGC draft content that I think was kind of inspiring, to be honest, because I'm never gonna do the team builders or the live matches. I'm too like anxious during a battle, like I wouldn't be able to keep track of that. Um, and that is great. That's great content too. But just this new, more analytical style of content that's it existed with the draft reviews and the season reviews, which I always enjoyed. But this kind of series is definitely something that I give Jordan credit for, you know, sh- showing that this is, something that people want to see, something that people are interested in. So definitely big thank you to him. Big thank you to everyone who responded to me about the series so far, because this was just going to be a one-off video, but quickly, based off of the responses, I realized that this is going to be a series, and probably an ongoing one for a while. So just thank you so much to everybody who responded with such excitement. Like thank you to Poppin specifically, I think has given me the longest response so far, with his, I think he was calling it his Poppin Festo, which was very good and very interesting, and I'll definitely use it. Um, and then I just have the logo on the side. Just thanks for the league, everything involving the league, the whole community is just really great. And again, that's the biggest reason why I'm making this. I think it'll be a fun way to interact with the community. So hope you guys are as excited for this series as I am. Thanks.